Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. So today in this particular video we are going to explore how to build and push Docker images using GitHub Action to our AWS ECR or Elastic Container Registry. Okay, so here is the pipeline which shows the overall flow. Here we are having some developers who are pushing the latest changes or committing the code to the GitHub repository, and from there using GitHub Action the code should be automatically tested, and if the test cases are successful, then based on the latest Docker file the Docker image should be built and the latest image should be pushed to the AWS ECR, and from that ECR latest image we can update our Lambda function or AWS ECS or Fargate task and run with the latest code. Okay, so this particular pipeline basically we are going to implement. The only thing which we will not cover in this section, that is testing part of the code, because in this video our main focus is building the CI/CD pipeline, that how to build and automatically push the latest Docker image to our ECR. Okay, so for this particular discussion we are going to follow this AWS documentation where it has clearly mentioned how to deploy Python Lambda function with container images, right? So as I already discussed in my previous video, that Lambda function you can run from some image which is basically published in Amazon ECR repository, right? So what we will try to do, we will put all our code in GitHub along with the Docker file, and then we will create the CI/CD pipeline, and then we will try to implement such flow so that whenever we will be changing something in our GitHub repository, the Lambda function or any component if we change, automatically a new image should be built, it should be pushed to our AWS ECR repository, and the Lambda function should be updated with the latest image so that it can run with the latest code. Okay, so I hope what we are going to implement is clear to you. Now without any further delay, we will quickly implement this structure of the files whatever is mentioned in the documentation. So first it is asking to create this example directory which is not needed as of now. We will start with Lambda function creation. Okay, so for that here I will open my GitHub repository. I will duplicate that, and here I will go to my repo. For this particular demo I am going to place a fresh repository, so I will click on new, and repository name I can give demo yt ECR CI/CD. Okay, I can keep this private as of now for security purpose, and then here I can create this repository. So here our repository got created. Now we will be starting our process by creating a new file. So as a first step, what we need to do, we need to create this lambda function.py file, right? So I'll create that. Name of our file is this one, and then here I will copy this particular code and paste that here, and I'll commit this particular change. Okay, so in our this repository this lambda function is created, and then we are going to create the requirements.txt file. Although here Boto3 is not needed, but just to show you the demo, here I am following the same whatever is mentioned in the documentation. So create the new file, and here I will copy Boto3. Okay, so Boto3 will be installed, and based on that the image will be created. Okay, commit the changes, and that is also done, and our next file should be Docker file. Okay, so here I will click on create new file, I'll paste that, and here this is our Docker file on which I already discussed in my previous video. The link I'll be sharing in the description box. If you want to know the detailed explanation, you can go through that. But just to have a quick view, here we are first taking one base image, and then we are copying our requirements.txt to this particular directory which is inside our Docker, and then we are installing all the necessary modules mentioned in requirements.txt. Then from our current host machine we are also copying the lambda function.py to our Docker environment which we have already created, and then finally we are running lambda function.handler. Okay, so this is our Docker file. I'll commit these changes. So here with this our 3 files setup is done following the documentation. Okay, now what we'll do, to run our GitHub CI/CD we need to create a workflow, right? So that workflow I'll be creating. So create new file. So here as you know that first the directory should be GitHub. Within that we should be having the folder workflow, and this I already covered in my video where I have explained GitHub Action in detail. You can check the link in the description box, and then here we'll be having our main workflow code which will be triggered based on certain event, whatever will occur in our this particular repository. Okay, so within our main repo we are creating a folder called .github. Within that workflows, and within that our YAML file we are running. Okay, so for the ease of reference, I have already opened my GitHub repository which I used to discuss the GitHub Actions. And here as a first step, I hope you can easily understand, we need to do checkout. Okay, because the requirements.txt file and then the Docker file, Lambda function, whenever we will copy from our current host machine to our Docker environment, that time in that GitHub Ubuntu machine where this code will run, in that Ubuntu machine, these files should be available. So for that, we need to do checkout. I hope that part is clear to you. Apart from that, when we will try to interact between GitHub and our AWS ECR, that time we need AWS access key, secret key for authentication also, right? So that also we'll try to implement. So here, if I scroll below, in our last lab section, we have implemented GitHub Action for our glue. This particular code I can just change little bit and utilize in our project. Okay. So here the name of the workflow I can give as ECR Docker deployment. On push event, the job should be Docker CI/CD, and the machine on which I want to run my workflow, let it be Ubuntu latest, not a problem. First, we are doing checkout, and then we are configuring AWS credentials. Okay, so AWS access key, AWS secret key, these things we need to configure along with the region. So region, we are working currently with North Virginia region, which is obviously nothing but US East 1. So let the region be as it is. I will quickly configure AWS access key and secret key. Okay. So here I will go to security credentials and I will open this in a new tab. And here I'll scroll below. Create access key. I understand. Create access key. And here I'll be getting my access key and secret key. Because this is my private repository, I am directly putting my access key and secret key. But this is not the best practice. Better we should put these values in secrets and then we should access those GitHub secrets here, right? So here I will as of now just copy directly. So here with this, our AWS authentication will be happening. And then as part of the next step, we no need to put this particular AWS S3CP command. This one basically we were using for glue CI/CD. I can delete that particular part. Now what we need to put next? As a next step, we need to create the Docker image and then push in ECR. These steps we need to perform, right? So AWS has already created some reusable code what we can utilize to implement this particular CI/CD. And this is clearly mentioned in this documentation. The link I'll be providing in the description box. You can go through that to explore more in it. So as of now, here I will use one particular reusable code, and that is this one. That is, this code is going to help us in logging in AWS ECR private repository and build the Docker image and push the Docker image in it. Okay. So all I will do, I will copy this particular thing and then here I'll paste this. Okay. So here we might have little indentation error. So I need to make sure it is proper. So here this particular step name is login to AWS ECR. And here we are using this particular reusable code, and then as part of the next step, it is going to build, tag and push the Docker image to the ECR repository. So first we need to provide the registry name. Registry name it will be getting from the login information, so don't change this. Now the repository, in which ECR repository the Docker image it is going to push, that we need to configure here. So for that what I will do, I will open Elastic Container Registry in a new tab. And then here I will click on get started, and then here private repository I will choose demo yt CI/CD GitHub Action. I am choosing that and let it be private, not a problem. I'll create this particular repository. So here our repository is created. All I will do here, repository name I will update. Okay. Now the next step is image tag. What is image tag? It is nothing but we are giving some unique identifier with our image. So every time we push the image, it should be having different name so that it will not be overwritten, right? So for that, here we can use GitHub SHA. So the SHA will generate always unique key, and that key we will be tagging with the images, whatever we will push as latest image to our ECR. Okay. So image tag no need to change, and this particular code is going to build the Docker image based on the Docker file, whatever will be available in the current working directory, and then it is going to push that. Okay. So I hope up to this you understood. Using this particular code, we can easily build the Docker image and push it to our ECR repository. Now what I will do, I will save this one or commit the changes. As soon as I will commit, this is nothing but a push event. So what will happen? This GitHub workflow will automatically start, and then based on our Docker file, Lambda function, requirements.txt, whatever we have created earlier, based on that, in this particular ECR repository, one image should be created. Okay. So we'll check whether image is created or not automatically. As of now, no image is there. All I will do, I will commit this particular changes. Okay. So the changes are committed. I will just duplicate this particular repository, and here I will go to actions, and here you can see our GitHub action is started automatically. We can go inside this and we can inspect individual steps and the logs. So here you can see first it is doing checkout, then it is configuring AWS credential, then it is going to log in ECR, and then it is going to build, tag and push the Docker image in our AWS ECR. Okay. So let's wait for a few seconds till all these steps get completed. And here you can see all these steps are executed successfully. Okay. So by the end of the execution, we should be getting one image in our ECR, which is built based on the Docker file, Lambda function and requirements.txt, whatever we have already written in our GitHub based on the AWS documentation. Okay. And this is the image. So what we can do now, we can now create, for example, one Lambda function based on this particular ECR image. So here I will go to Lambda, and here I can click on create function, and then here I can choose container image. Here I can give the name demo yt cicd ECR test, and then here I need to choose the container image. So first I will choose my repository, and this is the image I'm going to select, and then here without any further changes I will create this function. Okay. So here our Lambda function creation is successful. Now all I will do, I will test this particular Lambda function with the dummy event. Okay. And here you can see it is successful. Hello from AWS Lambda using Python 3.12.0, and this information it is printing. From where it is printing? It is printing based on this particular code base. Let me just show you. I will duplicate this session and I will go to my repository, and here the lambda function.py. Here we have written hello from Lambda using Python and sys.version. So here this particular Docker image we have built using, if you see this Docker file, here we are using 3.12, right? So that's why, because we have taken the base image as 3.12. So here you can see the Lambda function which we have created using the ECR image, that is also showing 3.12, right? So now this integration is working up to ECR that we have seen. Now we have to update the YAML code such that whenever we will make some changes in our GitHub in the Lambda code, automatically new image should be built in this ECR repository, and this Lambda function should be updated with that particular image. Okay, so that we will do now. So here I will go to main.yaml again, and now here I need to update the code little bit. So here I will edit it, and here I will add AWS Lambda update function. Okay, so what I am trying to do basically is, whenever a new image will be pushed to our ECR repository, once that is done, That is, once new image is published to our ECR private repository, the Lambda function, whatever we have created, that should be updated and it should now refer the latest ECR image. Okay, so we are using update function and code, update function code, and here we can put function hyphen name. So here I need to provide my Lambda function, what I want to update, that is this one. And the next component is based on what image it should be getting updated. So image URI is basically the latest ECR image we need to refer. So if you see here, this image URI is this one, but always it will be keep on changing, right? So for example, if you consider this one, this particular part, it is nothing but our ECR registry. Then this is our ECR repository, and this is nothing but image tag, that github.sha, whatever we are putting, that SHA value, right? Here you can see image tag, that SHA value only, it is coming here. So this whole information is nothing but stored in this particular format. Okay, dynamically we can take from here. That is first the registry name, then repository name, and the image tag, which is nothing but coming from GitHub SHA. Okay, so with this particular image URI, we need to update the Lambda function. So all I will do, the image URI, I will simply put this one. Okay, right? So I hope you understood what we are trying to do. First, we are building the image, we are pushing in our ECR repository. Now that image URI we need to consume and update to our Lambda function. That we are doing in this step. Okay. Now what I will do, I will commit these particular changes. Okay. So again, our here, if you observe, the action will be triggered, but this time actually the Lambda function will not be updated, because here we have not updated any Lambda function actually, but rather we just pushed with our latest YAML code. That's why it is running. So ideally our Lambda function will not be updated. If I just show you, here I'll copy this one, and here I will search that Lambda function. Here you can see last modified 4 minutes ago, but after a few minutes, once this particular workflow run will be completing, you will see the Lambda function updated few seconds ago, like that it will be showing, because our Lambda function will update with the latest ECR image. And earlier here we have seen only one image was there, but here you can see currently 2 images got published. One got published at 7:04 p.m. and one got published just now 7:10 p.m. and you can see currently it is 7:11 p.m. That means this image just created newly, and based on that this Lambda function also should be updated. Instead of 5 minutes ago, it should show last modified few seconds ago. So let's see. But here actually our GitHub workflow failed. Process completed with exit code this. Please provide image URI when updating a function package. So here I think I have written something wrong in our GitHub workflow. Let's see. Okay, so here actually I have not given this particular symbol, so it is thinking only this much code. So I'll just edit that. And then here I'll commit these changes. So again our workflow should be triggered, because anyway we just doing a push event. So every time push event will occur, whether you are changing your main Lambda or not, that does not matter. Your workflow will be keep on getting triggered. Okay, so one more new image will be published, and the beauty of using github.sha as image tag is every time github.sha will take different value. So each image tag will have different value. It is not like if we keep a hard-coded value, then always the image tag might be getting overwritten, some sort of issue might appear. But whenever our code will run, that time a new image tag will be created, because here image tag value we are not keeping static value, but rather we are keeping that dynamic using github.sha, right? So let's see whether our code is updated or not, and it seems it ran successfully. Yep. So one more image should be created now. And here you can see 3 images got created at 7:12 p.m. just now. One more image got created, and the Lambda function which was showing last updated 7 minutes ago, now it should show 25 seconds ago, right? So that means the Lambda function got updated very recently. Cool. So here if I run this one now, here you will see it is again show the same result whatever it has shown earlier. Hello from AWS Lambda using Python 3.2. So till now we have not seen the real power of CI/CD. Now we can change in our main Lambda function, and we can visualize the power of CI/CD or this particular GitHub workflow. Okay, so I will click on Lambda function, and suppose we got a business requirement where we need to change our main Lambda function code. So what we'll do, hello world, it is for Lambda function using Python. So here world comma it is, this I added newly, and I will simply commit the changes, and with this we are done. We no need to do anything. Automatically using GitHub workflow, the new Docker image will be built. That Docker image it will be pushing in our ECR repository, and our Lambda function will be updated based on the latest ECR image. And with this, our complete pipeline will be automated like it is shown here. We are committing in the GitHub repository, automatically the Docker image is built, it is pushed to ECR, and from ECR we are referring to other AWS services. In this case, we are working with AWS Lambda, but the same concept you can use to implement CI/CD for AWS ECS or Fargate and all. Okay, so let's wait for a few seconds. So let's see what is the state of our workflow, and since it is done, so one more image should be pushed, and here you can see the image currently it is showing 4. So at 9:14, that is just now one more image got published, and now if I run this particular Lambda function again, it will not show hello from AWS Lambda. It will show hello world, comma, it is from AWS Lambda, like that. Whatever latest code we have changed and published or pushed in our GitHub, that it will be showing. Okay, so let's see. I will just simply click on test, and here you can see beautifully our latest code is coming. Hello world, comma, it is from AWS Lambda. So this particular part is nothing but contribution of GitHub Action and CI/CD workflow. With this, I hope you understood how to build and push the latest code and image to our ECR repository, and based on that we can update our code whatever is running in various AWS services. Just try to play with this particular workflow code, you will be getting better feeling out of it. All I have done is first doing a checkout, which is obviously needed. Then to authenticate between GitHub and AWS, we need to use access key secret key, that we have done. Then this particular next step is nothing but we have copied from the AWS documentation, whatever AWS has suggested for GitHub Action. And the last step, what we are doing, we are just updating our Lambda function based on the latest image, whatever it has pushed in our ECR. And that we are doing dynamically. Basically, this particular value is nothing but the latest image URI, where it is containing the registry and then repository and then image tag. You can always go and try to understand how it is getting created. So if you see, this particular part is nothing but our registry, our account number, that is our AWS account number, and then it is in US East 1 and then AmazonAWS.com, right? This will take a common pattern. Then the next is our repository name. So the repository name is demo YTCICD. So we have followed that same approach here. First we have taken registry, then repository, and then image tag. Image tag is nothing but github.sharpen. If you observe here, image tag whatever is coming here, that same hello it is bringing here also. So this particular image URI, it is not like after publishing in ECR we need to consume from ECR. We are already having that in GitHub itself. That is, using this particular dynamic variable we can generate that image URI, and based on that we can update our Lambda function, right? So I hope you understood this. Just try to play with it. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section with the timestamp where you faced out. I will try to reply back ASAP. This is all for this video. If you find this video helpful, then please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now. And don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification of our latest videos. Thank you for watching.